with this webinar. I will record. So, ladies and gentlemen, I will record the webinar. I will make it available to all the people who are here afterwards. So please, if you're here, I already have your email address. So I will email it to you afterwards. You can properly rewatch if there's something you have missed. Sadly, I won't make it public in my TikTok, YouTube, or whatever place may be. I will keep it here, but I may hit post it, I don't know, but we'll deal with that issue as time goes on. So ladies and gentlemen, let me just share my screen. As I said, the Q&A session will be at the end of the webinar. For now, we just want to cover the content, go through everything. I'll be sharing a lot of my screen, go to Chrome, show you a few things. So please do note that. And also, I speak very fast, ladies and gentlemen. So please do forgive me in that regard when I start speaking and I start speaking very fast. Just use the Q&A session. Say, hey, Ivyn, you're speaking very fast right now, because I tend to sometimes speak very fast and forget that some people want me to actually be able to speak slowly so that they can fully understand what I am saying. So, ladies and gentlemen, with we're using the Q&A session or reaction, please let me know if you can see my slide so I'm aware that everyone can actually see my slides, see what I am posting, also what I'm sharing my screen. So please do use the Q&A the Q&A button in the bottom of your screen to let me know if you can actually see my screen, so I don't speak just by myself. I see people are saying, yeah, so people are saying all good, all good. You can see my screen, perfect. Thank you so much. Please next time use another platform. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, I will try my best next time to use a different platform, but this time around, as I said, also it's a last minute planning. You guys have been asking for this webinar, and that's why I had to use this platform that I'm using today. But my apologies, ladies and gentlemen. Next time I will try to use maybe Teams, or actually do pay my Zoom subscription, because I haven't paid my Zoom subscription in a while. So as we said, today we are talking about how to research JSE-listed companies, not only just JSE-listed companies, but ETF are actually traded funds, just to know how to research them before you actually invest your money into them. This webinar will cover a different range of content, right? So basically this webinar, or this your roadmap to confidently start investing for yourself in a map meet your own individual circumstances in terms of your investment strategy. So that's basically the type of content that we will be covering. And also we're looking into creating a guide, giving a practicality, and looking to how you actually do, not just me speaking, but actually demonstrating and doing it live right now, so that you can all basically understand the step-by-step guide on how to do it. There are 4 main points I want to cover in terms of the class we're having today, or the webinar we're having today. Understanding the JSE, company research, EFT, diversified investing, and also scam protection. Because even for those who are following me, there's a lot of people using my name and profile to scam a lot of you guys. So that's something as well I feel like we should cover in this webinar. It's important for us to cover such a thing as well as we go along with this class of this webinar, guys. So those are the things that we'll be covering. So let's go into the first one, right? Which, why does research matters? I think there's 4, or let me just say there are what we call 3 main issues on why the research elements in terms of your investments is very important, especially if you're using Easy Equity, you're using Think Market, you're using Brostock, you're using Shift app by Standard Bank to buy shares. You cannot just buy the shares. You actually need to be able to have step-by-step guide into buying them. That means step-by-step research that you need to do. And why the research matters, because the research you do, it helps you and becomes your shield to protect you against risk. Because you know, what investment is a huge amount of risk that you are taking, because you're actually investing into a company, and a company can fail for numerous reasons. So research matters because, number 1, it gives you a reality check. What do I mean about South Africa's financial landscape, guys? Include scams, include the national government of unity, which is the political side, basically. It include hype-driven stocks. What do I mean hype-driven stocks? You see me on TikTok talking about shares of Discovery, and I paint this beautiful picture of Discovery and how good Discovery is, and you go buy Discovery without actually doing your own research. Research helps to say, well, I even spoke about Discovery, but what he said here and what I'm researching, it doesn't meet up. So basically, it gives you a reality check. When I say it helps you avoid scams, there are companies that are actually listed that run on scams. We have seen it in the New York stock market. With companies that were actually not even legit company, but were listed in the New York stock market, and people took their life savings and invested into these companies. And you think because it's a New York stock market listed company, it will not be a scam. It actually is a scam. It fails and it collapses, and people lose money. I think the last one was I think it was Crypto.com, or it was a crypto company that was also listed and also face a lot of huge issues around being a scam company, basically. So that's what I mean in terms of when you do research, it actually helps you gives you a reality check. And so I'll say also it helps you give you reality around the government of the national unity. I'm just talking about politics in general, because politics also influence the companies that you're investing into. So when you do research, you tend to understand how the political climate is working, how things are going there, and also as well, it also helps you from failing from being misled by influencers. Because something that's what I'm noticing, a lot of people are buying shares because I spoke about this myself, Ivyn Sambo or Nicolette Mashile, Esther, Soul, or whoever it is, spoke about a specific company, and someone decide, let me go buy shares of that specific company without actually doing research in that company. So research actually helps, and also not only does it give you a reality check, but it also gives you the the power of knowledge. So you're investing with confidence, because now when you buy a specific company that you have researched, you have the power of knowledge. You no longer have anxiety when you're checking. You don't even check your investment portfolio because you are comfortable in what you invested into, and you know what you have. Then now you know I don't have to stress and check my easy equity account, check my pro stock account. No, you are relaxed because you have the power of knowledge behind you. You understand the facts, the fundamental, and you have verified the information you have. And also, why does the research matters? Well, the next component of it is that it's a real world example, right? It gives you a real world example of what the company actually is, instead of following the trend of me explaining the company in TikTok with poor finance, whatever it is. You actually yourself tend to make it a real world. So those are the three main points I believe the research element of an investment matters, right? But then at the end of this slide, I do say every successful investor starts by learning to research, and the skill is your fundamental, it's your foundation for long-term wealth creation, basically. I hope that this slide, in terms of why it actually matters, the research element of your investment, helps you understand why we will cover everything that we'll cover. So it's about the four main points that we talked about. So let's go to the next slide, guys, which is what understanding the Johannesburg stock market, what you are investing into, right? I just put this slide here just to, because I know a lot of us, I think if you already are into investment, you do understand the JSE, you do understand, but I just wanted for us for the purpose of this class, just to have context so that we all are in the same page when I'm throwing out those words around, or we are speaking about specific things, that we all have the context of what exactly the JSE is. Guys, the Johannesburg stock market is the main stock exchange in South Africa. It's hosting around 300 assets. Basically, 300 are listed assets inside the Johannesburg stock market. Those can be individual companies, can be ETF, it can be what do you call it, an ETN. There's a lot of listed assets in the Johannesburg stock market, up to 300, can be even more than 300. The last time I checked, I think it was even more than 300 assets which are listed there. I'm not saying companies, please don't quote me. I'm not saying companies listed, I'm saying assets that are listed in the Johannesburg stock market. It's one of the largest in Africa, actually, and also one of the oldest in Africa. So the Johannesburg stock market is actually a huge beast when we talk in terms of the investment, guys. So it's very able to it's very huge investment stock. I mean, the stock market to invest into. I'm a big fan, for those who don't know, of the Johannesburg stock market, right? So there's a lot of investment that are, a lot of companies that are in the Johannesburg stock market. There's different sectors. For example, if retail, we talk about retail investment or retail companies that are listed in Johannesburg. We're talking about your ShopRite, your Boxer, your Pick and Pay. As much as I hate Pick and Pay right now, oh, don't get me started. Pick and Pay is annoying me, that company in the JSE. But we have those companies which are huge, but in the retail sector. When you talk about the JSE, a lot of companies tend to be divided into different sectors. With the retail, you have telecommunication, your MTN, your your Vodacom, whatever. There's mining, your Anglo Gold, your Anglo Gold Ashanti, your whatever you tease. There's a lot of different your banking sectors as well, right? So this is just basically how different companies they are, but also there's different assets as well. As I mentioned, there's individual companies, there's ETF, which are indexes, we'll cover them as well. Then there's this different form of assets as well that are listed in the JSE. It's not only just individual sectors, but also in there is different form of stocks or asset listed there. But I did cover that in the beginning. So remember, guys, shares basically when you talk about, so basically the 4 points you're seeing right now, guys, there's a different terms that we're using a lot in terms of this. When I talk about shares, sometimes I interchange the word shares and stocks. I do know that a share and a stock are different, right? But fundamentally, they're the same thing. So I tend to use those words meaning the same thing. So I say stock, sometimes I mean shares, I say shares, sometimes I mean stock. I do know this fundamental difference between the two, but in the general terms, in the general life, we don't tend to focus on those differences, but we know what we're trying to say when we say shares. So basically, shares, guys, ownership in a company. When you buy shares, you become part of the owners or part of the owners of that specific company. You have the right to get dividends or the right to vote, depending on how many shares you have. You have the right to vote, depending on the amount, depending on if the company pays dividends or not. You will get paid dividends when you have shares in the company. But do remember, guys, not all JSE listed company actually pay out dividends. The dividend payment depends on the board of a specific company if they voted to agree to pay out dividends, or not the board, but even the directors and the leadership of a specific company. Then dividends basically is a profit sharing with the shareholders. The company does a lot of money, they pay out the dividends. And when we talk about indexes, guys, you're talking basically a grouping of stocks, like for example, the Johannesburg Top 40, where they group all the biggest top 40 companies in the JSE, they group them together, and that is called an index, or it tracks the performance of the biggest top 40 companies. If they say the top 40 is down, they say the overall average of the top 40 biggest companies in the JSE is down. So they're not doing very well based on all of them on average, right? So typical, that's what we mean by indexes. And market capitalization, market cap or market capitalization, guys. When you talk about that, we're talking basically about the total value of a company's shares calculated by multiplying the share price by the total number of shares that are out there with the people. So I hope you guys understand that. But guys, if you have a question, please do write them down in the Q&A section, but I'll cover them at the end, or just note them down your pen and paper, and I'll come back with them in the last 15 minutes, and we can do the Q&A session and just try to engage with each other. There was anyone to stop and answer questions, I think the class will be much more longer. I know some of us have work tomorrow morning, so I don't want to keep people very long. And it's a Thursday. Some people have to go and enjoy Pusa Thursday. So let's go back to the next slide. For this one, is just the giving of context of what we actually do. So how to research a JSE listed company. I think this is the meat. This is where a lot of you guys are here for. This is the part that you're here for, right? Where do you start doing the research? So before I go into what is in my slide, right, guys, let me just say something, right? Because this slide is very long. This slide is very long. I know I've wrote a lot of things here, but I want to say something. Before you start researching a specific JSE listed company, the first step that you should have done as an individual is to research yourself. I'm going to link them in a little bit. Just give me a second. What do I mean? You need to research yourself. So you need to understand your financial situation. You need to understand financial, speak to yourself, reflect, see how much actually you want to invest into, sit down yourself and research what type of an investor are you. So you need to look into, are you a conservative investor? What do I mean that you're a conservative investor? I mean you're someone that can take a large amount of risk, right? You have kids, you have bonds, you have car payments, you have loans, you have credit cards, you're paying off other things, so you can afford to take a lot of risk. And also, an old person, your days on this earth a little bit counted, no offense. So you are very conservative, you're very protective of your money. You want to understand, if you can, I'm a conservative investor, or you're a moderate investor, still a young professional. Yes, you do have a bond, but not too much responsibilities out there, so you can take risk, you can gamble there and there. Or you are an aggressive investor, you're young like myself, you just have a car payment and you only have your wife, you don't have a lot of things to stress about. Are you that type of investor? Go out there and take an investor deep into high-risk companies. You need to research yourself first. The reason I'm saying you need to do and research yourself and understand what type of investor you are is because when you start researching the type of JSE-listed companies you want to invest into, you will take into account what type of risk, what type of investor are you. If you're a conservative investor and you're researching a company, you will be researching companies that are fitting your investment profile. You are conservative, meaning you will look into companies like your Standard Bank. Companies are well established, meet your investment type. You are a conservative investor, you're looking for conservative companies. You are researching conservative companies. And when you are researching those companies, you are looking for elements that makes you feel comfortable as a conservative investor, and that confirm that this is a conservative company in their risk taking, right? So if you're a moderate investor as an individual, when you are researching a company, you look at, I want company that you are researching a company, you're trying to live person that you are as an investor. I hope that makes sense, ladies and gentlemen. Just give me a reaction if I am making sense in that type of a point, because I want to make that point before I go into deep. Just give me a thumbs up or a reaction if you understand that point I was trying to make. I'm seeing those thumbs up. That means a lot of you gentlemen and ladies out there, you are fully understanding the point I was trying to make there in reference to the type of investor, right? So you do not understand the type of investor you are. Now, where do you start with your research journey, right? Number one, you just download the Easy Equity or Pro Stock or Take Market or Shift. You download the app, you signed up, you made a deposit, you want to start investing into companies, right? The first thing you need to do is you know what type of investor you are. You're now looking for consulting companies. You're like, okay, I found a company, I found ShopRite. What do I look for? I always say the key research areas, right, that you need to focus on as an individual are the ones that are here in your screen. You see here when I say areas, right? These for me are the primary point that you start. Guys, I will explain these areas, then I'll go to demonstrate how you actually do it, right? So now just the theory. When I'm down the slide, I'll just go to Chrome. I'll share my screen with you and I'll explain how you actually do it. I just want to first explain, then I'll show, right? So these are the areas for me I always worry about when I am investing in a company. So instead, for example, I say, I like ShopRite. I see ShopRite every day. I want to buy shares of ShopRite. So let me go research ShopRite. Area number one, I start looking at is the finances. They are very important, the finances of a company. That's the first step. That's the first place I go into. I look into the revenue of a company. That means I must go look at the financial statement of a specific company. I'll go show you after this how to find the financial statements of a company. That's not explaining, right? So I'll go look into go to Google, check financial statement of Pick and Pay, right? Then I look at the revenue, profit, debt, cash flow. I look at those numbers. I'll explain as well how to ensure to understand those numbers. Those numbers are intimidating, especially if you didn't do accounting or finances. You did mass literacy and history in high school, like everyone else in the country did. So those things may be intimidating for you, but I'll show you a simple way on how to understand those numbers afterwards, right? So that's area number one for me that I look into. When I start researching a company, I'll say, okay, on the bachelor of ShopRite, I'll go to Google and say financial statement of ShopRite, latest financial statement of ShopRite. I get it. I look into those numbers. I'll explain how to do that later on after I'm done with explaining all those points. Number two, annual report. Annual report, that's where you get the strategies that's being used by the company. You get their risk, their performance, their operation as well, the operational challenges that they're having, and what the company actually do. You get all of that in the annual report most of the time. So for me, that's the first thing I look into, right? Then you look into leadership. The CEO background. I always say this. For me, when I go into investments in a company, I look into leadership. I go to it's like I'm running my own company. I want to hire a manager. Like I'm running a restaurant. I hire a manager to manage my restaurant. When I'm investing in company, I'm looking at the leadership of the company. I'm like, it's like I'm someone. So I even go to the LinkedIn of the company CEOs and look at their basically LinkedIn, look at their CV, look at what they've done before in the past, what company have they led, what have they done. I look into the background, not only just of the CEO, but also of the board of directors of a specific company. I look into every individual there. The board diversity basically. I'm not talking about diversity in terms of race. I'm talking about diversity, not the race and gender, but I'm talking about in terms of skills. Diversity of skills. What are they bringing in the board? What skills is each of them bringing? Because you can't have a board of directors company. I may be incorrect here, please don't quote me, but I think it was MPEG. When the board of directors were just financial people. These are people come from the financial sector. All of them were accountants, financial this and that. They were just finance bros, basically. And I was like, I will never trust the board of directors where they all come from the same industry, finance. I want people, especially the company, if you're a mining company, you want an engineer in that board of director. You want someone who knows environmental impact in that board of director. Someone understands politics and governance there. Someone understands. So that's the diversification of the board. You look into that because remember, the board's decision or the company you invest into will impact your company. So I look into it as well, guys. I spend plus minus an hour just look into it. I don't go too deep because I'm not HR. I'm not fully equipped with understanding what do you call this thing, in understanding a lot of elements of that. But for me, it does help a lot when I look into the diversification of the board. And I think as well that you need to look about that. I'll demonstrate how you do all these things. I just want to explain first. Is that sorry, someone was calling. I got this my attention was lost for a second there. When you look at the board, so when you look at the leadership of the company you want to invest into, not only look at the CEO, CFO, CEO, so CFO, CEO, COO, and the board. Don't look into that as well. Another element of the leadership that people don't tend to look into is the marketing as well as the HR. Look into whoever is running an operation as well. For me, it matters because the HR management, the employees management, and how the employees are behaving in the company will impact the future of the company. Because at some time we were to buy shares of mining company. Look into the employees' culture, because if a mining company goes on strike, it impacts the company huge. Most of the time, mining companies can afford to go on strike. If the miners goes on strike, it impact the company hugely. So when I want to buy shares of Impala Platinum, look into the employee culture of Impala Platinum and research that. Luckily, because of the mining companies, there will be a lot of articles around that. Look into it because you can't now take your 100 rand, buy shares of Impala Platinum. This month, this week, next week, the employees go, the miners goes on strike. What is happening about the shares? What's going to happen to your share price? Yes, their employees, the miners, It's their guaranteed constitutional rights. But for you, you don't care about let's be honest, you don't care about the miners' rights and interest. You want to care about your profits. So you'll be panicking. I'm losing money because miners are on strike. So before you even put your money in there, research the employees' culture of a company. It is rare for corporate South Africa, Standard Bank workers to go on strike. The private sector is rare to strike them, but your mining, your telecommunications, those ones, be careful. But I think there was a time in the early 2010s where even MTN employees went on strike and it impacted the shares of MTN. I think it was MTN or Vodacom, but I think it's most likely it was MTN. So look into that as well, especially when you invest into companies like who are in the health sector. Doctors go on strike, nurses go on strike. It impacts the performance of companies. So in the leadership as well, not only the CEO background, the board diversification, I explained it, but also the HR and the marketing, the image of the company matters. Because for me right now, I see a lot of people, I'm talking to them saying, I would rather go drink my money and buy an expensive bottle of wine to buy shares of Old Mutual or any company related to Old Mutual, linked to Old Mutual. Why? It's because Old Mutual has a terrible branding. The marketing and how they do customer service is also horrible. So those are the things you look into before you buy into shares of companies, right? You research, as I said, I'll demonstrate as we continue. So after leadership, the news, obviously, news is something that you always need to keep track, right? So news basically is where this website here, these two websites here, basically, your Yahoo Finance as well as MoneyWeb are very important, right? You have those things. You need to ensure that MoneyWeb, when you do your weekly review or monthly review, I don't know what time you have to check on the news of those companies, just to keep yourself up to date with what's happening in the company. Is there a match, scandal, lawsuits, whatever it is? MoneyWeb is your number one go-to for JSE-listed companies. If you're looking for any news of any specific company, let me demonstrate it actually. Let me show it here. Give me a second. Let me show it here right now. Let me stop sharing. Let me share the screen. Let me share the screen. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you can see my screen. So with MoneyWeb, I don't know why I didn't sign up now. I don't want to sign in now with my screen shared, but with MoneyWeb, guys, when you're in the website like MoneyWeb, there's always the share JSE companies, right? Let's say, for example, say Sasol, right? You click on Sasol, you search it here. Typically here, latest news updates, they'll give you this tab where you get all the latest news related to either Sasol directly or the industry Sasol is operating in, right? And also here, you also get all the SIMS announcements of Sasol. You find them all here. So that's why when it comes to news, MoneyWeb, it's not for JSE-listed company. MoneyWeb is very important for you. Go to the notice of annual general meeting. You see it is published here. You just click it here and go read yourself. You refer, okay, this annual general meeting is coming. Right, so MoneyWeb, you get all the information, the news updates, you keep it. It's all always here, ladies and gentlemen. So please, when it comes to news, MoneyWeb must be your go-to. What do you call thing? It must be your go-to. Yeah, I will share my slide. I'll email it to the children. My slide. I was emailing the slide before. So MoneyWeb must be your go-to platform in terms of the news, right? And also Yahoo Finance, your international shares, your Amazon, your whatever. Yahoo Finance is very good, and also the podcast there. There's a lot of educational podcasts around companies you're investing into at MoneyWeb as well as Yahoo Finance. I did try to use Google Finance. I'm not very skilled on it, so I didn't put it there. ShareNet as well gives you the news and the companies with that. I'm gonna go to this. Let me leave this for now. And Easy Equities does have blogs inside there that gives you updates on the news of companies. Then at that point, when they're looking to invest into companies, guys, that you need to research as well is this one, right? The valuation of the company. We will cover this as well, but typically, what I have realized the past few years is that when you say PE, the MoneyWeb does give you the PE ratio, the price, the book ratio as well of the companies. If you can just go back, for example, here and just share with you this one. I'm sorry, I think now I'm all over the place, but please forgive me. My mind just went off the don't call this thing. Well, off the point, but PE ratios typically as well. You find them at MoneyWeb. They're always here. You can see here, ladies and gentlemen. So typically, I trust MoneyWeb's PE ratio. They always give. So I always use this one as well. So I just want to just share that. My apologies for being off topic for a second, ladies and gentlemen. So thus, I don't think I need to talk much about valuation and PE ratio. They're very simple to understand and get. Then, obviously, the dividends. Dividends. You look into the history of the company. They pay out dividends very consistently. For me, when I invest to companies, I don't typically invest for dividends, so I don't tend to care much about dividends. So I don't typically put this. But another thing I think I forgot to edit here, ladies and gentlemen. Another thing that you need to research. I think it was supposed to be number one, but I forgot to put it here. That you need to research and look at before even looking at the specific company. Is look at the sector the specific company is operating in. Research the sector. Let's say, for example, you want to buy shares of, let's say, I'm trying to think here. By Togo-san International, right? Togo-san is in a hospitality space. So you must first research the South African hospitality environment. How is it profitable in general? Is the South African hospitality market profitable in general? If it is profitable, or look at the numbers, or it has been making average profits of a year of 20%, I have not been getting strikes. So basically, look into what you do for this individual company, you do it for the industry that company operates. Look at how has been the tension there. Has there been a lot of political involvement and sabotage of the industry, the hospitality industry? Has been a lot of labor unrest in the political in the hospitality industry. Look into those type of things as well. My apologies, I think I forgot to include it here in terms of covering this point of the key areas to research on. So right now, ladies and gentlemen, I want to share my tab right here. I want to show you how deal with the issue of researching the finances, the finance of a company, what to look for, how do you make it simple for yourself, right? So I want to show you how do you actually go about making yourself understand the financial report, the financial position of the company, because when you look at the financial report of the company I'm going to do right now, it tends to be very, 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 very confusing. A lot of people get confused in terms of how to understand the financial report of a company, because not all of us are accountants, not all of us are financial experts. So it becomes very, very, very stressful in terms of how do you understand and deal with that. So let's go, for example, let's look into which company. Let's say, for example, you want to buy shares of People Group, right? Which owns Easy. I could just use People Group, right? So, yeah, People Group. Let's use People Group, right? So let's say you're not buying shares of People Group, but you want to get the financial statements of People Group. Typically, what I do is I go directly to the source, the mouth itself. You go to People Group's website itself. Just search the company, say People Group, you'll find, or typically will be the first one, right? Then you click the website. They always have what they call the investors tab, but I think for People Group it's called Our Finances. Let me double check. I think it's called Our Finances. I think People Group's one is called Our Finances. Yeah. I think they call it Our Finances, right? Then typically you come in here. There, when you go to our, they call it Our Finances, but if you go to other websites, any other companies, for example, ShopRite, let me use ShopRite. I think ShopRite still use the same term as we know it. Let me share this time. I think ShopRite still uses the old tab. So when you go to the actual website of that company on a buy shares of ShopRite, typically when you go to there, at the bottom, I think ShopRite still has it. Or ShopRite doesn't have it anymore. Oh yeah, here you go. ShopRite is called they call it the ShopRite Holdings. Yeah, ShopRite called ShopRite Holding. You click there, you find all the finances report of that company. ShopRite at the bottom, you'll see at the bottom. For easy equity, as you can see on this tab. For easy equity, let me share this one. For easy equity, you can see it's on top. I don't think for easy equity, they put it on the bottom. Yeah, it's on top for easy equity. So you go to their latest reports, you'll find their latest reports or the interim results. They'll list them all for you here because the source, you get them directly from the company you want to buy shares of, right? Let's say, for example, let's use easy equity, their 2025 full result, right? Let's just use them as an example, right? I know to look at the results, I know. But let's just use them as an example, right? You see, this document is plus minus. If you look at it, it's plus minus. You can top here. It's almost 59 pages. Trust me and you don't have the time to actually go through this full report. So I'm sharing the wrong screen. Sorry, I'm not sharing the right screen. My apologies. So you can see this is. So when I clicked here to view and download, it took me to a new tab, which is the tab you are looking at right now. No, sorry guys. I know when I click there, you don't see when it took me to another tab. So this is a tab where it took me in, where there's the other group's results, right? For the 6 month ending in on the 28th of February 2025. Let's use them as an example, right? So this, you can see here on top here, this is a 59-page document. It explains a lot of things here, right? And I think you will not have time to go through all this content. And if you do, you won't have the energy and the time, or you will not understand everything. So typically what I do for me, right? Let me just download it. Give me a second to download it. Let me just download the document, right? So I have the document right here. This is the result for easy equity. I want to understand the finances, the results, everything, right? But I don't have the time to go through this 59 page. What I do, this is financial advice, guys. You don't say, hey, this is what I do to help myself understand this information, right? So I download the PDF on my laptop or whatever desktop or system you're using, right? Then I go to a website called Google LLM. It's LMM, sorry, it's Google LMM. So I hope you're writing it, guys. Google LM, sorry, Google Notebook LM. Let me just share this tab. I've got a lot of tab open right now. So I go to this website called Google LM, Google Notebook LM. I hope you're writing it down, guys, but I didn't put it in my slide. But it's called Google Notebook LM. I go here, I click on it. I hope you don't see my. Let me click on it. Okay, it opens another tab. Let me just share this tab. I click on Google LM, then I go to where it says create new note, right? The reason I use this one is I create new note and I upload that report, that financial report from Easy Equity. You see it here. I upload the full results. I upload them to Google Notes LM. The reason I do this, guys, is because this, for me, I felt it's better than using ChatGPT or all this AI, the other ones, because this one, it does not think for you. It doesn't give you summaries, I mean, like delusion. It's basically AI that's an open source to others, but it use the information you give it. So you give it this PDF. I just gave it this PDF of people group interim result, right? So all of its thinking will be based on this document I fed it. So like ChatGPT or these other AIs out there that they use open source, they use information from different sources. This one uses the information you gave it to give you an answer. If the answer is not in that document you fed it, it will not give you anything else. So I trust it more on its reasoning and to help me understand the information that I give it, right? So I use this one, this Google Notebook LM. Then I will start asking it, for example, I'll ask a question like, but now I put that report to this AI, right? Then I'll ask a question like, for example, I'll say, based on this what are the key challenges faced by paper group, right? So I'll say, for example, say based on this document, right, what are the key issues faced by the company? I'm sorry, I know this question and is very basic, but I'm just using an example, right? So it will think and summarize it for me as an ordinary guy based only on that report. It doesn't go outside and go look at other websites. No, it uses the actual information from that report. It thinks based on that, so it makes it simple for you as someone, because it also sources the same example right here. It also give you a footnote to say, okay, the issues is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. For example, here's an issue: the operating environment still caused by high interest rates in South Africa. And you may think then will source and tell you in where in the report is that. It will actually highlight where in the actual report of the company it took that information from. So it's not using open source and using other websites. It uses the interim results that you upload on a specific company. So use this Google Notebook LLM to help you understand the financial report, interim result, whatever it is in terms of the finances, because you can also ask you to simplify it in a simple language for you to understand, because not all of us have PhDs. Some of us just are law graduates, right? So I think this platform actually helps you to deal with the point which I was covering here. I'm sure if you just go back to that. So when I was telling you guys, I'll demonstrate how to actually consume the information, simplify for yourself. I think that's the one tool for me that has helped me properly consume the information, financial reports, annual reports, whatever it is, the results, the cash flow management. I even need the numbers, the finances of the company. I use it to say, give it to me, explain in simple language, and I read it and I consume that information in a much better context. I hope, ladies and gentlemen, we are still out together. I'm not rambling on by myself, ladies and gentlemen. Please do confirm with us reactions that we are still together, ladies and gentlemen. Let's just do the reaction to say like, okay, I see, you're still out together. Thank you. So I know I tend to ramble on, and I miss and I lose people. So I'm glad we are still together, ladies and gentlemen. So basically, that's the tool I use in terms of covering that point in terms of this, right? So I think that's how I come to direct access. I remember when I said we'll come back to company's website. You know how to get the company's website. You know how to get the annual reports, presentation, official announcements, and all of that. You know how to do it now in terms of that. Easy Equity is just blogs. ShareNet, it just gives you the chat. But I think this is something I can do in a more detailed, longer class. What I want to do, actually, I want to do a I want to do a 2-hour class, right? But that one will be very close. I'm thinking 30 people so can interact with each other. So I want to do a class, but let me know, put a poll to see if you guys actually will be interested in such a class. I'll put the poll up. I'll just put it out there. I'm so sorry. I thought I tapped this already. Let me know in the poll that you want that or something that you will not want, so that I can see something that you guys will want to do or want to take part in, ladies and gentlemen. So basically that is in terms of that point of how do you start a research. I hope I've given you guys an overview now on how do you start that. So the next point now is understanding ETF. These are my babies, guys. This is something I always loved, still love, and I think I'll always love, and I'll always be a huge fan of ETF, right? Exchange traded funds. I think here I just give it This is just a generic definition of what is an ETF. An ETF is a fund that holds multiple assets and trades like a stock on the exchange, basically. So think about it as a basket of investment. I always say, ladies and gentlemen, that an ETF basically is like a basket, right? It's a basket. Inside is a lot of shares of different companies. When you buy the basket, you get all those companies together, right? Then now, they've a lot of benefits with ETF, ladies and gentlemen. There is the diversification. You reduce risk because you're spread out, right? You're very, very, very spread out. You have companies, for example, you buy the Johannesburg top 40 ETF, right? When you buy the Johannesburg top 40 ETF, basically, ladies and gentlemen, it's like you have a basket of all the top 40 biggest companies. TN is there, your Vodacom is there, your Impala Platinum is there, and you buy all of them at once. And if Impala Platinum inside the Johannesburg top 40 ETF perform very poor, you know, hey, Sasol is coming in, it's covering it. You know, the other company is coming. So basically the basket is reduce your risk by spreading it within the multiple of companies or assets that are in the basket. So basically, when the first benefits, oh, and the second benefit is the low fees. Typical ETF, ladies and gentlemen, they are cheap, don't cost that much. I feel I should have bought a bottle of wine for myself while I'm presenting this class, because right now I feel like I should be just having a glass of wine while talking. But anyway, I was talking about another benefit, which is low fees, right? So ETF typically are low fees, they're typically cheaper, but they're passively managed. Unlike unit trust, I don't know why people are thinking about unit trust, by the way, but unlike unit trust, right? Oh, I know why people are thinking about unit trust, but unlike unit trust, an ETF, ladies and gentlemen, it's low fee because it's passively managed. They just come once in a while to just manage it, but they just leave it there. So there's no one who actively manage. There's no financial fund manager that comes in to work on ETF. So you tend to pay low fees, ladies and gentlemen. And also it's easily accessible, blah blah blah. Yeah. You know the story. How to buy easy equity, shifts now, Cetric now. Yeah. I think it's just formalities, ladies and gentlemen. Those are the formalities. You know that I don't think you'll be here if you don't know how to buy ETF. So now the key issue is, how do you do research on ETF, right? So here's what you do when you want to do a research on an ETF. It's the most simplest thing you can do, ladies and gentlemen. It's one of the most, I think the most simplest thing to do is buy shares, or to do research on an ETF, ladies and gentlemen. Let me show you how to do it. Give me a second to close this tab, because I have so many tabs open here, ladies and gentlemen. I'll say ladies and gentlemen too many times already. Give me a second, ladies and gentlemen. What is this thing? I'm just trying to find this. So, ladies and gentlemen, just doing something fast. I'm trying to find this thing. Oh, there you go. Finally open this. Let me just share my screen. Let me share this tab. I hope you can still see my screen, ladies and gentlemen. I know we have 90 minutes left. I'm trying to cover as a lot of content before we run out of time, ladies and gentlemen. I know I asked for an hour. So how do you research an ETF? It's simple, ladies and gentlemen. So let's say, for example, you want to invest into the Satric RISI ETF, right? So you say Satric RISI ETF, right? So you type there, you say Satric RISI ETF. Then afterwards you say minimum English now, disclosure. Why am I disclosure document, right? Yeah, that disclosure document. You say minimum, you say ETFs, the RISI ETF minimum disclosure documents. I'm so sorry, I type my own thing here, right? You say minimum, you say, for example, you say Satric RISI ETF, and you say minimum disclosure document. Then when you do that, you'll get something like this. It's always the first PDF. let me just go back, ladies and gentlemen. Let me go back so you can see properly, right? So I say minimum, I say Satric RISI ETF because I want to buy shares of the Satric RISI ETF in the JSE. So I go to Google, I say Satric RISI ETF minimum disclosure document, right? You search that on Google. When you search that, it's always, I don't think in my lifetime or within my generation, first of my bloodline, within my bloodline, no one has been the first to ever get this thing being a third link. It's always the first link. In my entire bloodline, it's always been the first link. So it will always be a first link. It will be a PDF document. You click on it, ladies and gentlemen. So when you click on it, it will be like this. It will say, it will look like this. It's always a 2 pages as well. I have never seen it being 3 pages, maybe. I have never seen it being 3 pages. Always a 2-page document. This will be the most easiest research you'll ever do in your life. So this document, it will give you all the information you need to understand about the ETF. Number one, it will be this here. Ladies and gentlemen, here it will give you the investment of objective of this ETF you want to buy into. It will explain. It's always 8 or 5 lines. It's easy English. They Satrix and One Invest. They always keep it simple. Always simple. Easy to understand. It explains what this ETF does. It's always just right here, ladies and gentlemen. It will tell you what the ETF does. You'll understand it. It won't confuse you. It's not big English. Even my brother who's doing grade, I don't know my brother's grade is doing, but yeah, even my younger brother will be able to understand. Then typically here, it will tell you what companies and what shares does this ETF have inside this. The Satric RISI ETF, it has BHP Group, it has Anglo Gold Platinum, Anglo Gold, Anglo-American, sorry. They have Impala Platinum, they have Sibaya Stillwater, the Sasol, Goldfield. It will tell you this. And on this side, as you can see the gentleman here, on this side, it will tell you how many percentage of this company is inside that ETF. For example, here you see Sasol only makes up 5.11% of this ETF. Sibaya Stillwater makes up 7.86% of this ETF, ladies and gentlemen. So you understand that information. And also it will tell you here the fund information as well. All the dilly-dallies, the numbers, you will get them here as well. And this chart, as well, it will tell you the performance and returns of this ETF, the 1-year return, 3-year return, 5-year return. It will give you that information. And also, not only that, it will give you as well the market data, the price of this ETF, the dividends yield. It gives you a dividends yield right here. The dividends yield of this ETF is also right here. It gives you the portfolio size. It gives you all the info summarized for you, ladies and gentlemen. It's the most easiest thing you'll ever do in your life, ladies and gentlemen. I keep saying ladies and gentlemen so many times, starting to annoy me. I hope it's not annoying you, ladies and gentlemen. It will do all of that as well. It will give you all the information as well. Not only will it do that, but typically somewhere it will tell you what type of risk this ETF is, right? As you can see here, ladies and gentlemen, it says this risk profile of this ETF is aggressive. It tells you itself. So it makes your life very simple, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you understand. So this document was the simplest thing you'll ever do in terms of doing research of ETF for you to understand, ladies and gentlemen, before you buy them and buy the shares. So you understand how does the ETF works, what is in that ETF you're investing into. This one has Sasol, Impala Platinum, Anglo-American, BHP. It has them all. It explain how, and also it explain also the returns. 1-year return, I believe, 28.43%. The benchmark they have for themselves was 28%. The 2-year return was 18.6%. People were eating nice with this ETF. They made a lot of money for themselves. So it's there. So I hope it makes sense, ladies and gentlemen. I'm trying to move as fast as possible, ladies and gentlemen. Please let me know if you're still together, ladies and gentlemen. If you're still together, let me know in the chat if you are still together. So let's go to this. Let's go back to this point so I can be able to summarize this. I don't think we'll have enough time. Avoiding scams. Literally, I think it's something you can do on your own time. How to avoid scams and be good and be daddies. But I'll do email notification on this live. I'm thinking of the time right now. I talk too much. I think I underestimated how much I talk. I thought I can talk for an hour and cover everything, but I don't think I can. Then what's the other thing? That point left are practical tools to use for success, creating a watch list, use Google Alerts. There's Google Alerts. I want to demonstrate how to use Google Alerts, but I don't think I will be able to do this. That's why I'm going to do a 2-hour long class that will cover all of this. Newsletters, real life scenarios, how to apply. I want to cover all of this, but I don't think I have time. Legitimate time's on my side. You're changing that now. Yeah, this is boring. I don't think even yourself wanted to care about this. So let's implement that in terms of the class, but I'm not done. So I'm gonna have questions and answer session. Let me just stop sharing. I'm gonna do a 10-minute session answer how to call this thing answer session, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, please do support, ladies and gentlemen. If you want to support my work, please. My thingy is there, so you can just send a tip for today's workshop if you want to. It's not forced or compulsory, but if you want to, please do for free. That thing is there. But I'm trying to open the mic so that we can be able to talk and we'll call this thing. I'll be able to converse now and answer questions. I'm trying to find a thing to open the mic. Give me a second. I may be young, but I'm not tech savvy. Not tech savvy. English is ran out today. It was very, very finished this language today. It was gone. So give me a second. I'm trying to find how do you open this thing? Okay, yeah, I think I can be able to open it. So please do raise your hand, please do raise your hands. Ladies and gentlemen, I do have 2 hands that are raised. I'm gonna unmute the first one asked to talk. Tinkosi, please go ahead. Tinkosi. Tinkosi, you raised your hand to ask a question. Okay. Okay, I see there's no one who wants to speak. Let me just ask a question in the Q&A session. What is your take on shares dropping by 20% this month? Actually, I'm not up to date with this company. I won't lie to you. I haven't been following it. I will be lying. I will honestly be lying if I answer that answer. Are those ETF and SATRIC under tax-free savings accounts? So in terms of SATRICs, guys, so tax-free savings accounts, a lot of those ETFs, they do fall under tax-free savings accounts if majority of it is focused on South African investment. So they are tax-free savings account. You can put them in a tax-free savings account. When you are someone asks a question, when you are a dividend investor, how do you check the frequency on which a company pays dividends? Typically, that is typically that's something that it's I think MoneyWeb does have succession there in them. So please do check MoneyWeb. I'm not a dividends investor, so I don't do that much care about dividends. So but I think the next class I'm gonna invite Soul, because Soul is a huge dividends investor, but typically MoneyWeb does have that. So please do use MoneyWeb for that. Someone asked here in the group as well, with your knowledge, I'm definitely going to make it better for that decision. I'm very happy you did. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't see hands. Oh, I see there's 2 hands now. Let me just allow these 2 hands allowed to talk. Please go ahead, Shanta. You have I've asked you to unmute. Shanta, can you speak? Shanta, you raised your hand, but you're not speaking. Ladies, I'm trying to allow you guys to ask a question, but I'm allowing you to speak with those who raise their hand. Are you able to still hear me, ladies and gentlemen? Those who raise their hand to speak?
You hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, Sasha. You can go ahead.
Right. Yeah. I just wanted to ask, what is your take on the Accelo Metals share growing by 28% in just 1 month? Because 2 weeks before it was falling and facing liquidation. And then later on, there was some news that it was going to be funded by some company, some steel company as well. And then all of a sudden, I see it raised it. Like if it was you, how would I actually research whether it's still going to go up so that I can find out whether to sell or to
Oh,
hold? I don't know
Okay,
if my question is clear.
yeah. Yeah, and I get your point. So thank you so much, Anshansha, for that question. So in terms of companies like that, so, right?
Yes.
Already this okay. I noted Anshansha. So in terms of each companies like that, where they already are number one, Anshansha, to find out the company will go up or not, the fact that number one, the company is in controversy, is already facing financial issues, it's already telling you that that's a red flag. The company will be facing a lot of financial challenges, but already is in a financial difficult situation. That's number one. Number two, the news are your biggest issue, biggest source of information when a company is facing a lot of financial issues. So you need to stay up to date with what the news are being published and what they're saying. And also, if a company will be backed by another steel company to now save it from bankruptcy, you now need to go and research that company is coming in to fund that specific company that you have shares in and say, is their reputation not good? If, for example, Pick and Pay is going out of business, going bankrupt, and ShopRite is coming to save Pick and Pay, you now have to go look at ShopRite and ShopRite, a reliable company to save the company you have shares in. If ShopRite is not a reliable company, you know your share price is still going to go down because even that one is struggling. How can you save this one? So you look into that. And from my point of view, even government, there's not even government intervention to save this company. I don't think it will be saved anytime soon unless God sparing something else happen. So that's my point of view in terms of that issue to understand how or do research on if that company will do well or not. I have Tabiso here with the question. I'm going to take Tabiso, I don't have enough time. I'm going to take Tabiso. Tabiso, go ahead.
hello, hello.
Yes,
Can you hear me?
yes, I can hear you, Tabiso.
Yes. I just want you to just explain more about tax-free saving account. My question is, if let's say I've started this year and I'm failing to pay that 36K this year, maybe I'm paying 20 or less than 36K. Do they forfeit that year, the following year, or what happened? Or I can able to carry on the following year?
So each year, from my understanding, I stand to be correct on this, is that each year you have 36,000 Rand to invest tax free. If you don't reach the 36,000 Rand, it's okay. But next year, I think you have another 36,000 Rand. The new
Oh,
this one you already forfeited. If you don't finish it doing that full 36,000 Rand investment and you fully put in the 36,000 Rand, it's okay. You don't get charged for doing that. You don't like get penalized. That's okay. You didn't go above it. You went under it. It's okay. Next year, you have another 36,000 Rand per financial year. So basically, each year it's just 36,000 Rand that continues. But I'll go more in detail with the tax free savings account in another class. I don't think I can cover it because it's very complicated. I think I'll cover this specific class on its own.
okay. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. I'm gonna host another special class, another class that will be just 2 hours long. But unlike this one, that one will not be a free class. I'll email you guys all the information. But guys, thank you so much for everyone that joined. I truly appreciate you guys joining and also supporting the work I do. I see a lot of people contributing to the support of this channel. So thank you so much for everything that you guys do, liking, supporting, all of those things. Until next time, guys, thank you so much. truly appreciate you guys joining. Truly appreciate you guys being here. I see there's one more question. Let me just try to answer this one. I see there's one more question in the chat. Let me try to answer this one. What is it saying? He said, hey, thanks for such informative session. So all the good investment companies are all Easy Equity, or must I search on Google about ShopRite? Look, Easy Equity is not Easy Equity is not what do you call this? Easy Equity is not the information source, is the investment broker. It's the broker that you use to buy the shares. Then the research you do it outside of Easy Equity. You go to Easy Equity does have blogs, but you go to Yahoo Finance, you Google, and all those places to find the information. Then you go to Easy Equity to go buy. I hope that makes sense and simplify the situation for you guys in terms of how that works. But guys, thank you so much to everyone that joined. I truly appreciate you guys joining. Have an amazing night. We have been here for almost 1 hour 8 minutes. So thank you so much, guys. Truly appreciate it. Bye to everyone. Have an amazing